you seen the show Westworld?
No, I've heard of it though, and I've heard people talk highly of it.
Okay. High level concept. There's basically this resort called Westworld. Very high end, super expensive. It's set to look like Western times, cowboys, guns, whatever. And there's the guests who are actual humans. You go into this fancy place, you get all dressed out and kitted out, similar to picking an avatar and all the clothes and whatever you want. And most of the people in the park are not guests. Most of them are AI hosts. But they have enough inside of them, they're metal and whatever, but they have enough manufactured skin suit around them to seem and feel human. So it's very common for people to go experience all the things they can't legally do in the real world, like rape, kill, pillage. And it's all fine because you're not doing it to another human, you're doing it to this robot.
And I see the tie to Western culture because it was like the Wild West.
Yep. Now, if AI becomes real and we get to the point where we can not only do the biological technology where we can simulate humans in that aspect, but also the functioning brain behind them to create scenarios like this, couple of part question. Do you think we'll see high-end resorts like Westworld? And if so, is that healthy for our species?
Wow. A high-end resort. I think so, but I think it'll be more like underground, kind of in the way that brothels are.
Sure.
And so they'll exist, but they won't be
Sanctioned.
Prominently featured. Maybe they'll be sanctioned. Maybe not. I mean, brothels are legal in some places.
That's fair. There's a place of the world where it'll be legal.
I mean, at what point do you have robots' rights activists?
Well, I'm thinking even more, not even to that, but as the human aspect. Like, is a space where we can go get these urges out in a healthy way a good thing? Or is it a bad thing because now we're allowing these activities to be normalized in a different way?
You're asking the wrong person, man.
This is where my mind went when I was prepping for AI stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, if AI goes, a lot of times we follow or try to create what we've imagined and only can put in a movie. Well, let's make that a real reality because people want to do it. If that is a real reality, what's the implications on society?
Yeah, man, that's a crazy question. It's like before society was a thing and we were in tribes, what kind of events would happen? And society is, in a way, what differentiates us from animals. Like, obviously, the self-consciousness does, but the way that we organize and collectively determine what's okay and what's not is what separates us there, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's culture.
And it is culture. And so, like, prior to that, I imagine there was a lot more murder, killing within the tribe. At a certain point, like, there's a balance of survival, and, you know, having a tribe of 14 people means that you can bring down a mammoth. If you only have 12 because you killed the 2 people that you hated, are you going to be able to get that mammoth, you know? And so like it comes with balances. But taking it to like the Westworld concept, the reason I mentioned like, are there going to be robots' rights activists is because I think that's how we shape culture. And ultimately that's what would decide if that's okay or not. Like, if these robots are not self-aware at all, then I think society would be okay with it, but like kind of cringy. Right. For example, I was in Houston, Texas a couple years ago, and I flipped on the evening news, like getting ready for bed, you know, and I was like, I wonder what's going on around here. And the very first story was an absolute mindfuck. The mayor of Houston was addressing whoever is listening to be like, yeah, we understand that there are sex doll brothels. It's legal, but stop.
What the fuck?
Yes. And so like this was a real thing that the mayor had to address.
And so that was a couple of years ago. If that already exists, now you add just more technology to it in the future. So I think part of the answer to my question is yes, we will absolutely see high-end resorts like Westworld.
Yep.
The next part, I think, is TBD.
That's where it's like, okay, while it's legal, you can go abuse the fuck out of a sex doll. I'm sure it's not like that doesn't happen in a sex doll brothel.
Right.
I can't I can't even wrap my mind around this, man. How nasty is that, first of all?
It's pretty fucked up.
But you know, whatever. To each their own. I guess. But it goes down that line of like, where does society want to regulate itself? Like, does it want to look out for you so that you don't get STDs from fucking a robot? I just don't know. But
yeah,
like, I think it'll start off kind of like the mayor of Houston was like, hey, it's legal, but stop. Come on, guys.
And then at some point, there'll be some catalyst type event to say, this is the tipping scale where this is no longer legal.
Yeah, maybe it is like a sexual transmitted disease outbreak that happens and they're trying to solve that. Or maybe it's that this AI is self-aware and knows that it's being abused and it is like demoralized and has all of the psychological, quote unquote, effects of a human going through those issues.
Or the customers of the robots are so allowed to abuse in a robot capacity that at some point that doesn't scratch the itch anymore and they turn to humans and they're like, yeah, this isn't fixing the problem we thought it was going to fix. Shut it down.
Like, does it exacerbate the problem? I don't know, man. This kind of like gets into psychology a lot, but you know, like serial killers and stuff, they start off by like killing cats or something. And then I don't know if it's the exact same concept where it's like it didn't scratch the itch, but it definitely manifests itself into a bigger problem.
Now take away the darkness of what we're talking about, and I think that's perfectly normal for humans to grow and evolve and reach for bigger and better things. So I can kill animals or small animals, and then, okay, I have this mastered. What's the next challenge here? And so I think it's probably the same path of, oh, I can master this thing. What's the next challenge? And so I think it would probably exacerbate the problem.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what I would assume would happen. Have you heard of... There's a book that's kind of like a classic book that people read in school, but it's like the most dangerous game, maybe the most dangerous game. I'm searching for it right now.
I've heard that title before, but you know, I didn't go to school.
Yeah, it's a short story. Okay. So the most dangerous game, I think this is it, is the concept of like this hunter who wanted a better challenge. He had killed the deer. He had killed the elk and the moose. He had killed the antelope and the lion and the tiger and the bear, oh my. And he wanted that next level. So it's been years since I read this little short story, but he like captured some people or invited them to his island or something like that and was
Hashtag Epstein.
Run. Hashtag Epstein. Little St. James. He's out here hunting people because he wanted that next challenge. And so anyway, I say that to say that I think you're spot on. Like, I think it could definitely create a space where people evolve and they're like, oh, I like this.
Right. And people who wouldn't ordinarily try it because there's this line and I don't want to hurt other people because that's wrong or I might get caught. There's no risks. Let me try this. And then now you are breeding this, I like killing.
Yeah.
Let me try a real one. And that's where shit goes extra sideways.
Yep. That's like a dystopian type world, for sure. Maybe not. That's taking it to an extreme.
But think about it. Like you have somebody who goes, hey, look at all of these degenerate needs that people have or desires that people have that aren't accepted in society. Let's create this safe little park over here. You can go indulge them. It makes sense. People would pay money for that.
Yeah. And so just to kind of bring this full circle and tie a bow on it, I think those problems manifest themselves more when people are facing tough times. Like the suicide rates and drug abuse rates went up exponentially when the manufacturing jobs started to go away due to technologies. You saw that in the car manufacturing lines and things like that because they're being replaced. And it's almost like people need an outlet. They're turning to drugs in this case, or turning to suicide because they can't handle it.
Well, flip. I think it's both ends of the spectrum. It's either you have nothing and you need an outlet, or you have too much wealth or time or whatever and not enough challenge. So you go create some sort of a challenge in an unhealthy way.